Cam speed, E-speed. Ready, man?
Hello, my name is James Parks. Welcome to another episode of That's Way Fast.
Well, that's not even your name.
You gotta say your own name, Dudley.
Hello, my name is Chris Dudley. Welcome to another episode of the Thunder Road Podcast, filming at the Petronio. Hello, my name is Chris Dudley. Welcome to another episode of the Thunder Road Podcast, filming at the Petronio Posse Race Car Shop. That's too much. I didn't say ready.
Don't piss off the talent.
Okay. Are you ready? Was that a yes?
Hello, my name is Chris Dudley. Welcome to another episode of the Thunder Road Podcast, filming at the Petronio Posse Race Car Shop. I would like to thank our podcast sponsors, Proline Fabrication, 112 Bodies, Top Hat Signs and Designs. Yeah, we're good.
Lights out, green flag, here we go. You pay for the whole seat, but you're only gonna need the edge.
The Thunder Road Podcast, telling the stories of the South Texas racers from the past and present.
Hello, my name is James Parks, and welcome to another episode of the Thunder Road Podcast, filming at the Petronio Posse Race Shop. I would like to take the time to thank our sponsors, Proline Fabrication, 112 Bodies, Top Hat Signs and Designs, and of course, S&S Monuments. On this episode, we speak to Jerry the Dozer Walters. Hear the tales of how he acquired that nickname that has stuck with him for many years. I hope you enjoy the show. All right, we're here with Jerry Walters, local technician extraordinaire. Jerry's probably worked on anything and everything from, minivans to race cars, everything in between.
If it's got an engine, I'll work on it.
Jerry, you were employed by Ed Hicks Nissan for how many years?
Right. It was 2 months shy of 10 years.
And then you went to work for me for a little bit.
Yes, sir.
You got a great tan.
Yes.
You were my tannest employee.
Yes, sir.
And then you went to Ford.
Yep.
And tell us about all that. Tell us about how you got wrapped up in the automotive industry.
My grandpa's had a shop since I was, I don't know when, since before I was born. He worked for Ford back in the day. He worked a local boat shop. So he was kind of the same thing, worked on anything, everything. And then I guess by the time I was born, he had his own shop on the Upriver Road at first.
Just like a general mechanic shop, general repair shop?
Yeah, he had when he was on Upriver Road, he had a shop in the front, and then he had a boat mechanic in the back. So there'd be all kind of cars and boats in the back. And just kind of went with it, you know.
Saw him working on the stuff, kind of took it up from there.
Yeah, I would, when I was younger, I would work on some cars there. And then when it was time for me to start working, he'd already shut it down. He moved to Pettis and started working as a mechanic for an oil field company there in Pettis. And that's where he's at. So didn't get to do a whole lot with him. My dad, my uncle, everybody just worked on cars in the family, and so it was just natural to pick up a wrench.
But motorsports was in the family, though.
Yeah, I was told. My grandpa did some racing back in the day. I don't know how much. He was good.
That CC Speedway doing asphalt stuff.
CC Speedway. Monty Nichols might be able to elaborate on that. They were friends. It's kind of how. It was all kind of natural when I started racing. As grandpa or family had known a lot of these people, and it's just pretty easy.
Name recognition, because his name is Jerry also. So
yeah, it was kind of funny. I would get on some tool trucks when I first started working, and Bill Burton was a Mac tool dealer. And when I told him my name, he stopped and looked at me and says, "Nope, not the Jerry Walters I know." And so
you're
it's
of relation.
Yeah, it was funny, and it's to this day. I went and got a drive shaft balance there on Agnes, and told the guy my name. He looked at me funny. And,
Alamo drive shaft.
Is it that one?
Yeah, I think so. Agnes.
I don't think it's that one. But anyways, he looked at me and started asking how my dad was, and I said, "Well, if it's not my dad, it's my grandpa." But yeah, then just started. It's just funny being in the business, and when they hear my name,
And some monster trucks.
Yeah, that was also, I don't know, I was probably 10 or so. Larry Cook, he had a diesel shop here in town. In his younger days, he had 2 monster trucks. They're the same, the Texas Toy. And they were sitting there kind of rotting away. And my grandpa was real good friends with Larry Cook. And my dad got a wild hair and asked Larry if he can drive it. And Larry used to do, I've seen videos, you can find them somewhere, but he used to race with Bigfoot. You know, it was a lot slower. This was an actual big monster truck, heavy.
They were real iron.
Yes.
These are real trucks.
They had a Detroit diesel in it. So my dad did the local CC Speedway. He would do intermission. They would line up some cars in the middle, and he'd jump a couple cars while the racers got ready, and that was his little
entertainment.
10-minute, fame, for that little intermission. So I would hang around CC Speedway as a kid. Didn't really know much racers by that time. And then that kind of went away. And then I was working at Ed Hicks, and Hector Geary always, I think it was late Friday or Saturday, needed something done to his race car. Y'all know him. He's always last minute. And
He's always on time.
yeah. So I helped him with his race car a little bit here and there. And then, his main work was also, getting done either at your shop or somewhere. I didn't know y'all guys at the time. And I would do little stuff at, oil change or whatever at the shop. And
I heard he had a shop on the other side of town.
yeah, he did. He had this huge shop. We'll get to that in a minute. And then that's what it was. He said, man, I got another car. You get it running and you can drive it. I was like, all right. I'd never driven before, didn't know much about it, but I know how to get cars running. So he said, just go to my shop. I got everything you need inside that shop. So I roll up in that shop.
There's a problem.
Yeah, there's an old man in a chair. He wouldn't let me in the shop. He told me Hector didn't own nothing in this shop. He filled me in pretty quick. It was not Hector's shop, and it was pretty fun.
About 30 seconds worth, he probably told you exactly how he felt.
Yeah, I don't think we can say what he said, but he told me nicely. So I worked in the parking lot for a while till the old man can trust me a little bit, and then let me work in front of the door. Just slowly inched our way into the shop.
My dad didn't want anybody to see what was in that shop because he was always concerned about it getting broke into.
Yeah.
So he was very particular about who he allowed in there and what they were able to do and what they were able to see. So you were able to pass the test and hang around for a while. Hell, you even had a set of keys at one point. So you must have done something right.
And I think the day I gained his trust is, I don't know if it was my car or one of y'all's, was putting a front hub on. And for the local racers, it's not a big deal on how to tighten them. And I was younger, and he asked me if I knew how to tighten them. And I said, yeah. And he watched me, and a lot of people have their own tricks. And it's just the way I tightened it, he walked away and I can trust you. And I'll never forget that day. He looked at me like, that was a good job. And the cotter pin even lined up perfect.
He didn't say good job, though.
No, he didn't. Nope. He just walked away. He didn't tell me to correct it, so I thought I did good.
Yeah. You passed that test, too.
Yep.
You can officially put wheel bearings in.
Yep.
You're
That's
moving
just
up the food chain.
the funny little things,
Yep. So you picked this car from Hector. I'm sure it was race ready because all of Hector's cars are race ready. Perfectly set up and ready to roll.
Not at all.
Not at all?
Oh, I think we had to rebuild the front end, get some fenders from stop rubbing, picked up some tires, just did what I knew what to do, get it this close.
Yeah.
That wasn't much better than when I picked it up, but it was the fun factor. So I don't know how long that car had been sitting there. And then I remember I got it running, drug it to the track, and he comes over and says, hey, man, you're going to run you're going to pack the track and hot laps, and my brother's going to race it. And,
The old switcheroo.
yeah, and I was like, never mind, I'll just leave it here. And he's like, no. So we raced it from there, and it wasn't much longer, and then I ended up buying it from him. Just dumped whatever money I could into it.
So the pure stocks back then, they were just basically metric cars, hammered to hell, as long as they would start and run.
Yeah, if you had,
I think I ran street tires.
Yes,
they'd
I
run
would
street
go
tires
get
back then.
I can't remember what kind of street tires there were, but yeah. And then I'd work in a Nissan. I would, they still had 15-inch tires back then.
You ran everybody's tires.
Oh yeah. Everybody needed tires when they came in the shop. I remember one day somebody came over and I don't know what it was, off some little truck, and kind of looked like it was like an aggressive looking tire, and we started doing a little better, and so maybe I was in tech, and somebody was complaining about the tire, and Owen walked over and looked at it. It's a street tire. Go buy you one.
Do you remember the time that you misread the rules and ended up in tech?
Oh yeah, it kind of wasn't so much misread the rules. It was
You didn't read all of it?
Didn't have money, so anytime you got like a scratch on your wheels, you would throw them in a big pile in the shop, and I put tires on it.
So you read the rule, but you forgot to read the last part of the rule?
Well, they had to match.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So we had different off spacings on there, and it was funny.
Oddly enough, it was the spacings that it needed to have to make the car handle better?
No. Obviously it got us there. And I remember, I think it was John Heineman walked over and says, man, if you'd have swapped these from left to right, you probably would have been faster. So I didn't even pay attention. I didn't know what back spacing was back then.
Lessons learned the hard way.
I mean, you remember that pile? There was a big old pile in the corner over there, right next to the tire machine. So I'd be straightening out wheels. I didn't have money to buy wheels or tires. So, but it was fun.
You had a good time.
Yeah.
And then one day you got a wild hair and decided you were going to go super street racing at CC Speedway.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. He was a porter at Nissan. He did a little small engine repair. And he said, oh, man, there's a race this weekend at CC Speedway. And so I don't know how I convinced y'all to go. So we went, and I entered it in the...
We knew what was going to happen. We wanted to see it.
So he says, man, just put headers on it. You know, it could be, what were they, super stocks or something? And then he told me, follow my buddy. And I went out there, and I guess, obviously, that guy's car was running bad when he was practicing. And I was right behind him. I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be good.
I got this.
He went back there and fixed his car. And, yeah, I think in 20 laps, I probably got lapped 15 times. Not like the whole field. It was just a bomber. But
it was good times, though.
Oh, yeah. It was to the floor.
The whole time?
I just stayed on the bottom, stayed out of those guys' ways. It was pretty funny.
No, I remember that. I remember you coming and telling me, I'm going to go run.
But you never told me that I was wrong.
Super streets at CC Speedway. And I was like, no, you're not, but okay. And you were insistent on doing it.
You didn't stop me.
And you wanted to cram these giant headers into that thing, and you got him in there. At first, I didn't think you were going to get him in. But you got him in, and then off we go. And I stood behind you and beside you and in front of you multiple times, and you insisted on going on the track. So I let you go.
I think it was just because I wanted those headers that came out the fenders.
Yeah.
That was a cool thing. Everybody had those back then.
So it was an experience. We had a good time.
Yeah.
Through the years, you and I have had a lot of funny stories, ups and downs, racing incidents. But let's talk about your racing. So obviously, you got the car from Hector. You got yourself in position where you could purchase the car. You've kind of advanced your racing program. So what did you do from there? Obviously, you were running the Bomber Series. You dabbled, and we'll say you dabbled in some asphalt racing. We'll call that your asphalt career. What happened from there?
Pretty sure I was thinking about a little minute ago. So we had that first car, and had a little incident on the track. Yeah, it wasn't intentional, but that car ended up going in the wall. And I guess it was all kind of perfect timing, because then your dad got, I want to say it was his new Destroyer. So his car that he had came up for sale, and he took payments for it. So we swapped everything over, and then he cut that other car up in little pieces. I remember taking that to the scrapyard.
You got $127?
I got $127 for it, and I have the receipt somewhere. It was pretty funny. I remember calling you as soon as I did.
Jerry's car number was 127. So ironically, when he took it across the scales, he called me and said, I got exactly $127 for this car.
And maybe Ken Hobbs felt bad for me and gave me a couple extra bucks because he saw the number on there. Because I remember his guys stopped me. They were like, oh, man, you can't take that. It resembles a car. And then Ken Hobbs calls and, let him in. I know where that car's from.
Let it happen.
So, and he probably, it might have been worth 98, and he just rounded it up. Went up
he
to
just rounded it up to 127.
He's, I'm going to make this guy feel better for bringing this car.
That's a good number. That's a good number.
Yeah.
So you jumped into my old man's Destroyer car that had just a little bit of soup under the hood?
No, he got his Destroyer.
Okay.
And then the car that you built.
Oh, the black and red and white car.
I jumped in that
I have
car.
that car.
Yes.
Sitting behind me.
Yes, sir.
Outside.
Yes, sir.
In the weather.
So
Not literally.
that was my second car, and I don't remember how many years we raced that.
Ran it for a long time.
Yeah, and then Owen came up with a crazy idea to start what are called or known as E-mods now, and ironically, you had a spare limited, so you were taking the old limiteds.
Ironically.
Yeah, well, you just got your Big Chief, I want to say, and you had the car that you pulled out of the weeds.
Yeah.
That you were running, but you had ordered the Big Chief.
So
So
Diamond D.
we put that together. It was so he was trying to see who can get it done the fastest. Blah blah blah. So we had my bomber, and we're building that car, and me and Box got our cars together, and we kind of showed them off during intermission one night.
Gary or Tyler?
Tyler. Me and Tyler Box were the first ones to have E-mods. We showed up at the same. We got them ready at the same time, and Owen told us both to bring them out, and then we started that class.
And look where that class is at now. Full fields.
Yep. I want to say we started. I mean, started off of 5, and each year get a little more. And when I was racing, it was probably maxed out at 20, somewhere in there. And now they're.
Well, I remember when that class started. It was just a handful of cars. Mm-hmm. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And a lot of times the E-mods will have the most cars on any given Saturday night at the track to current date.
Yeah, I want to say there was a big misinterpretation on that class. So I remember getting yelled at from some like parents of like 12-year-olds because you got too close to them.
Soccer moms.
Yeah, because they thought it was a beginner's class, which it was a beginner's to the limiteds, not a beginner's class.
Yeah.
Beginners. So when they got a little hot and heavy like that, when we went back to the bomber, and then I don't know why. I think your dad stopped racing, so then I drove the street stock for a little bit, ended up buying that from him, and it's just
Well, that car's still around today. JC still has that car.
yes,
That was the first Destroyer that I brought to the South Texas area. Oof, and I want to say it was around 2010.
yeah.
I could be off a few years, but I think it was in that timeline.
Yeah, it was. I want to say it was 11. I was just looking at pictures.
Yeah. There was another one in the San Antonio area, but I think that was the first one that had actually come to Corpus. But it was a really good car for us.
Yeah, we raced that one, and we never bent that one. And I just got a chance to buy a newer car, and so I went up. I don't know, 8 years. And JC was still racing a CC Speedway car, so he went up about 8 years when he bought my car.
One driver advances, and a handful of
we were
others
both
follow.
happy. We both, we both moved up.
So tell us about some of your racing at the dirt track. So obviously you raced a pure stock / bomber, I guess back then, and then you did the E-mod deal. You did the street stock stuff. Which one of those cars, which one of those classes did you enjoy the most?
I want to say the street stock. That was
And what was the excitement of the street stock?
just that was the fastest car that I've driven. Bigger motor, and when your dad builds a motor, he doesn't leave anything out. So
My dad's theory, my whole growing up, was he would make it run and I had to make it turn. Because my dad was hard on cars and he never lifted.
he ran. That thing ran. It was very fun racing that car, and I don't know why I got out of that one. We went back to the bombers after that. I think that's street stocks. Then they changed to the factory stocks now.
Yeah,
they started doing the shocks and all that. Because back then the street stocks were on stock shocks and stuff like that. So then we just went back. I think they changed to the slicks and everything. Got complacent for a little bit. You win a championship and don't touch the car, and then you come out the very next year and you're the guy in the back.
The maintenance program catches up to you, or the lack of maintenance program catches up to you. So what are some of the transitions? What are some of the things that you've seen in the racing? So what are some of the things that you've seen, good and bad? So some of the stuff you've liked or you didn't like that has changed over the years since you've been involved.
Well, to me, it's almost been the same. And I want to say it was you that told me a long time ago, you'll sit there and watch the racers themselves outprice a class. And that's pretty much the street stock. It's the same thing. Then you want headers, then you want better shocks, then you want better tires. And they're like, hey, let's make a new class.
We all want
pure
it. We just
stocks.
didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, then you have street stocks that show up with 5 cars because everybody wants, I'm going to go back down to pure stocks or bombers. And you see it happening right now.
Yeah.
There's some factory stock drivers that are jumping back down to the bombers because it looks fun, or what we call pure stocks here. But it's fun. And just staying in a class you can afford. That's the biggest thing. As you've been one of them shocks, and they're pricey.
No, they
And I
are.
think I told you got to have 16 of them, 16 shocks. So having 16 shocks at a cost of them is not so much fun.
No, the price is up there for sure. I don't know about 16 shocks anymore. We've narrowed that down with our RAK shock packages, but no, the price of the shocks is definitely up there.
Yeah.
So you have inherited yourself a few nicknames over the years.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if you knew this was coming up or not.
Oh, yes, I did.
So one of your nicknames that sticks out to me was Dozer
Yeah.
or Bulldozer. So let's talk about some of that stuff. Let's talk about some of that as to how you acquired those nicknames. And obviously everyone has their own thoughts. This guy's a rough driver, that guy's a rough driver. And sometimes it's just racing incidents. But since you have that stigma to you, it doesn't matter. You could be a half a straightaway ahead or a half straightaway behind. If there's a wreck, it was your fault.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that happened to you a lot. But at the same time, you were not afraid to use a right front fender because I think I helped you replace 10 of them in one season.
Oh, yeah.
But then the very next season, we built a brand new body and you didn't knock it off at all.
No.
So what happened?
Y'all started doing the body.
Oh, we made stronger
I just put
fenders.
like one rivet
all
on
we
it.
did was make stronger
Because if
fenders.
you put one rivet, if you get hit, it just kind of knocked it off, and you can reuse it. It didn't. You put a bunch of rivets, and it just wads up and stays there. So that was
So
kind
what
of my
happened
trick.
with the Bulldozer stuff? Where did that come from?
I was trying to remember. One incident comes to mind. I'm not sure if this is the incident, but Marcus Mekonchek started racing the bombers. I want to say he just moved up from go-kart. So he was younger. Well, their car, which is still out there today, I can't remember which boy's grandson's driving it. But Lawrence told me the story later on. And I've known, my grandparents have known Lawrence for a long time. So somebody told Marcus, if you finish the feature, I think this is the story, they're going to give him $50, $100. So Marcus was, cruise control. He wasn't trying to race.
He was trying to make $50.
And Lawrence is in there teaching him. I think he was teaching him, I don't know. Or he was texting, I don't know.
I don't know if Lawrence was texting.
Yeah, but you're right. So
He does now, but I don't know if he did back then.
I was going to go around Marcus, and then he kind of went up. So I went back to go underneath him, and I clipped the bumper, and ended up putting them in the wall. I think that's when I got the name, because I just kind of
So
bulldozed
just to
him.
clarify, you put Marcus and Lawrence in the wall
Yes.
at the same time.
Yes.
Good job.
Yeah, I loaded my car pretty quick that night and got out of there. I waited about a week, and then I went to visit Lawrence, and he laughed at me.
Did he
when
have a neck brace on?
No, he said he was fine. I felt like really bad. And that's when he told me the story about Marcus. He goes, it was Marcus's fault because he was just putting around. I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
That's funny.
I didn't get in trouble with that. Either that or I let it, a week go by.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Something happened.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go talk to him that night.
No?
Wasn't happening.
Go share a beer with him?
No. I mean, I've known him for a long time, but I just loaded up and went home.
So other than that, that's the only reason you got the
Oh no!
Dozer.
I mean, I would use that bumper. I mean, when I got that car from y'all, it did add a bumper, and not like everybody else. It didn't really never bent. It just the fenders would come off, nose would come off. We just put it all back together.
just
But
reassemble.
if they were in the way, yeah, I would. I want to say that's how me and Robert Wyman were racing street stocks, and he came over and told me his neck hurt. I kept hitting him. He wouldn't get out of the way. And I didn't know who he was. And he come over and was like, man, can you go around me? I was like, no, you're all over the track. And
He said, I tried.
and that's what he told me. He's like, stop hitting me. I said, well, make your car faster. He reminds me of that all the time. But Yeah, I was.
You were like the welcoming committee.
I was trying to get to the front. I remember one of the biggest things I remember is going back to that wheel incident. I was chasing another local car that's still racing today, and that's Barber's car, that 9. I was
Jenny driving it?
No, Jared was driving it, and Jared was like pretty much dominating the Bombers then in that car, and I passed him that night for the first time. I chased him all year, and I finally passed him, and they came over and said I was cheating because I passed Jared Barber, and they caught the wheels. So, and then they told me I had him on the wrong side. So it didn't help. And we went out there the very next weekend, and I passed Jared again, and I broke a rocker. So twice I'd pass him, but he got back around me. He ended up winning. So, and I think finally your dad kept on. We were throwing stuff at that car, and we finally got him. But that was like the challenge of that year.
Yeah,
was
but
trying
when
to pass.
when you finally outran him, it made the win even
Oh
better.
yes. Because I mean, I would finish second, third to him every weekend, and finally pass him, and that was the excitement of that season. And I think he moved on. So then I think they parked the car for a while.
So when you got into Dad's Destroyer and you were running the street stock deal at the dirt track, you got to run with your hero. Do you remember racing your hero?
Yeah, I raced. It was kind of cool. I got
I
to
thought
race.
you were going to wear a shirt today.
I should have, but I worked today. Oh, that would have been good. No, I raced with a couple of legends. Obviously, one we just talked about, Lawrence, and then we can probably put this on record. Look up records. It was John Heineman's last race.
Was it? You put him out of commission?
I passed John Heineman.
I think you lapped him.
I'm not gonna. We may have
That's
to.
what you said earlier. You said I lapped John
we may have
Heineman.
to edit that part. But no, we passed John Heineman, and that was cool. All the races that he's won, and racing with those two guys was pretty fun.
That was a pretty stout class for a little while.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fast cars. I don't remember winning a whole lot in that class. There was still some fast cars. I think we got a win or two in that one, but definitely fun times in there.
And the E-Mod stuff,
The EMA was
obviously you helped grow the E-Mods from nothing, handful of cars as we discussed earlier, but you had your fair share of feature wins in the E-Mod class.
Yes. I would say the first 2 years, I think we pretty much had those wrapped up until we got some more cars. And then you built one, and I think there was one season either you or me won, and nobody else won. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that was around 2013 or so. I'm not positive.
If there was 10 races, you probably won 9. I won 1, but either way.
Yeah, and you took my wheels as I piled them up outside. No, we raced together quite a bit. We learned a lot together.
Yes.
We did many things together. We went to some schooling. Everyone kind of was curious about how we were able to learn some of the stuff we did, but we spent the money and we spent the time. We drove to some of these chassis schools and did some stuff. We paid attention. We probably could have paid more attention when we went out of town. But
Definitely.
we were a lot younger back then.
I still got my books, though. I
Yep.
still got them.
I actually refer to mine every now and then. I have mine in my toolbox behind me there. I still stay in contact with those guys. I still stay in contact with Brian.
Everything changes. It's like every year. So those books may not be all that good from that long ago, but
The basics are still
definitely
there.
basics. Yeah.
We traveled together. We did some excitement on that end. You ran the E-Mods for a while. I don't know. In my eyes, you kind of stepped back a little bit. Took some time. I'm going to say off, but I don't know that you stayed full tilt into the circle track racing.
Around that's when I started having kids. So it kind of slowed it down a little bit. But yeah, we still showed up and raced, and then. But it was fun.
If you had to guess, how many kickball games have you been to in your lifetime?
Ooh, I don't know. A lot.
So for those of y'all that don't know, Jerry's daughters are very are in deep, I guess, in the kickball world.
Yep.
Both of them.
Yeah. You stop in kickball. You stop whenever this league when you graduate high school. So my oldest has 2 years left, and for the last at least 3 years, she's made All-Stars every year. It could be somebody else that she may not get to play All-Stars, but luckily she's made All-Stars as far as Audrey also. When she was eligible for All-Stars, she started making it. So we go out of town for that. This year it was here. Last year it was Brownsville. I think this next year they're saying Austin, but we'll see.
So have you been to more kickball games or more races?
Ooh,
That's close.
it's a close one.
It's close?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yep.
Goliad?
Oh man, I love that track.
Let's talk about Goliad.
What part? You're already smiling. I know what part you're talking about.
Where'd you leave your keys?
Oh, I got a picture of that too. Locked the keys in the truck.
We knew where they were at. They were safe
Yes.
in the truck.
Yep.
With
Well,
the
nobody
doors
getting
locked.
them.
Yeah, no one was going to get those keys.
Yeah.
You or TJ.
Nope. TJ went over there and I bent the door out, and we got something stuck in there to unlock it. But those are fun times.
You ran really well at Goliad.
I did. I love that track, and especially if you knew that guys around you never been there, because it was a longer track, so you can build up a lot more speed. And you kind of didn't want to do that whenever those guys, when they packed that track. I mean, it was sloppy, but it made for a good track at the end of the night. So if you let off like 4 car lengths early, the car would just kind of perfect, and everybody else would go over the hill. So you can get to the first really quick if you played your cards right, or you can be the guy on the other side of the hill. Either way.
You seem to run well at Goliad. You and that car seem to mesh well together. Even at the dirt track when it slicked off, you seem to be pretty competitive in that destroyer car. And even when the track was heavy at Goliad, you seem to have that car underneath you. The E-Mod stuff, I felt like the E-Mods kind of came easy to you. And a lot of times I think that happened because the first car you drove, and don't take this the wrong way, was so beat up and tore up. You had to learn how to drive the car.
I think everybody should learn on that kind of car.
Because that car was meant 9 times to Sunday.
Yes.
And I tried to straighten it a few times myself, and I finally just said enough is enough. This is what it's going to be. So I think you coming on the way you did, getting to run some of that rougher equipment, helped you as a driver and helped you understand some stuff. And obviously you had the savvy of the engine and transmission side, the drivetrain side, to understand what was going to happen. The one thing you did have a problem with, and you have always told me, you didn't understand the front end stuff.
Yes.
Because it was drilled into your head from the dealership that it needed to be this way, and I screwed your whole world up.
Yes. Camera needs to be in the middle, not leaned over.
Yeah.
But I get paid daily to make cars go straight down the road, and then it's just
Now you screwed it all up.
Yeah, now you want me to make them turn left only. They're supposed to turn left when you let go of the steering wheel, and I'm like, no, that's what the customer.
I
gets
remember
this here
trying to
for.
teach you about the caster and camera and how to do it, and you were trying to correct me and say, no, it needs to be this way, and I would tell you we're not going straight. I don't know what part of you thinks you're going straight and you're not going straight.
It took a while to figure that
Even if
stuff
you
out.
think you're going straight, you're not going straight.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean, alignments I was good at, just not alignments on these things.
What was your favorite car of all the cars that you did drive?
I want to say is the Destroyer. It was probably my favorite. I remember they allowed us for half a season. Your dad had that extra little piece on the window. And they finally came over. They said, "Hey man, you need to roll that window down." So we rolled it down.
I kept making it taller.
Yeah.
I told you one day they're going to tell us enough's enough, and you couldn't see out the side window, but I kept making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally they said, yeah, well, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And you remember what I told him it was for? When you went in the corner so they wouldn't blow mud all over your helmet. That was the only thing I could come up with.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. We finally took it off. I think you still got it up there.
It's hanging it's hanging on my deck at the house. Yeah. No, I do still have it. Within the racing scene, within the racing community, who was your biggest competition when you were on the track? Who was the guy that you felt like you had to outrun when you were on the track? It doesn't matter what class.
The biggest one that sticks out, I told you, was Jared Barber. He was the one that was dominating at the time. That's when I first got in there, trying to figure this out. But it was more fun because I didn't know. I knew way less back then, so I really didn't know what I was doing. And I think I was doing the alignments, making the car go straight at home. So I wasn't helping the turning of it. And I think I got a new motor. That whatever motor was in it, that we finally got a new motor. And that helped out a lot. And but Jared Barber was it. And then especially to watch him race now as well. He's coming along.
He's coming along really well. As far as I know, he's finished school. I think he was going for engineering or something. But that young man is very he's fast.
Yes.
The drier the track, I feel like the faster he is, and a lot of guys forget he's there until next thing you know, he's passing you coming out of 4 at the flag stand because he's been running the bottom the whole time while we're trying to knock the fence down. So he's one of those guys that he's a silent assassin, as I say. He's going to be there at the end.
Yes.
And you sometimes just don't realize it's happening to you.
Mine do, especially being with the class I'm in. And I'm having fun. You know, obviously there's not a whole lot of money to be made in this stuff, but just the younger kids that are driving bigger cars now, you know.
We're the old guys now.
It kind of sucks to say that, yeah. I didn't think
the
I
old
was,
guys,
but
yeah.
I guess when you're on the podcast, that's why you're here. Like
The legends.
I don't know if he'll be back or not, but raced a couple years with little Stevie. That's cool because I know that kid's going somewhere. He's got the opportunity to drive bigger and better cars.
Is that Whitaker the third?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously he's already in one, but just kind of cool. You know, I raced with Marcus a while.
You put him in the wall.
Yeah. He moved on. He's in faster
He
cars
moved
now.
on. He got over it. He moved on.
Just don't tell him you're going to give him $50 at the end of the night, and he'll go fast.
That's funny. No, those things happen. Now, something I did notice about you, and I've known you a very long time, your family is really involved. Your Uncle Bo has been here helping you work on your car, put motors and stuff like that. Gabriel, been here. Your kids ran around here, wore my concrete out.
Yep.
Buck, he's been here helping put stuff together. So tell us a little bit about that. Obviously, keeping the family involved is a big deal.
Yeah.
Keeping the family happy is a big deal.
Yeah. They like to help out, you know, and when it's, you kind of mentioned it earlier, when it's a car's not at your house, it's a little harder for them to be involved. So try to keep it there, but obviously some of it you can't, you know, if it needs welding or something. But my uncle come over whenever, help me out. All the family loves it. My mom, and they're probably the biggest fans. Don't talk bad about me around my mom.
Or the Cowboys. Apparently, she likes the Cowboys a lot too. I don't know. She might like the Cowboys more than you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Don't talk about me or the Cowboys, and you'll be all right.
I remember when I had my car at the shop. I mean, at the garage working on it, in my garage working on it, and you had your car at home, and you're like, man, it's just hard with the kids because they're in the way. They're in the way, and I would tell you, man, having those kids around is what we need. So if things take a little bit longer, they're just going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Now, I told you that years ago. Now I'm like, these little kids are in my way. But I remember that conversation I had with you. Like, man, I need those kids here. I need those kids to be involved in this. So if it takes me a little longer, it's just going to take me a little longer. But the frustration is there.
Definitely.
And you have a football team.
Because the wrench was right here. When they're little, like it was right. I put it right there.
Yeah.
And now it's in the mud.
So here we have an issue. We have the same issue. So Rebel takes off with their tools as well as Eli. And Eli is the white lab outside. And he's quick. He's faster than Rebel. So you may have something and then 2 seconds later you had something. And it's in the front yard.
Yep.
I promise you. One of them put it, either Rebel or the dog put it there.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, like my grandpa told me stories. I used to hammer his screwdrivers in the mud. So he would always have to buy a new screwdriver because he couldn't find them.
Make sure they were sharp.
Yeah. Hammer a screwdriver. They went in the mud pretty well.
So where are we at now? Now we're at Sames Ford.
Sames Ford.
What's going on with Jerry's life?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just bought a C10 pickup and went to a car show yesterday. I don't know. That was pretty cool. Buddy of mine told me when you get one, get ready for the waves and stuff. And I was like, whatever. Man, I had so much attention just getting down there, people taking pictures, and it's pretty cool. Looking for a bigger motor for it, though.
Are you entering the show car life? Is that what we're saying?
No. This is not a show car. We're in between not a rat rod, but I don't know if I want a show quality truck just yet. Because if you scratch the truck right now, I won't get that mad. But $20,000 paint job, is a different story.
Where are we at on the race car stuff? Are we moving forward this season? We taking a season off? Is it up in limbo? Where are we
It's up in limbo. If somebody buys it, I'm not advertising it. But we'll probably race this year. I had a lot of fun this last season. Season before, we were kind of struggling with different setups and stuff like that, and had some help this year. It's crazy when you start doing less of all those changes to the car. We were changing a spring, and you put the wrong spring in it. You read the track wrong, and you go backwards, and it's a little frustrating.
You ever put a spring in with tie bands before?
No, I've heard that story, but no. They said you had to have it in there, but I know you got to put where the name is right.
Upside down.
Yeah. Put the name upside down helps out.
No, the racing season's right around the corner. Obviously, the local area's getting ready for Robstown for the go-karting, and then it's going to kick off big cars. It's right around the corner. Lots of folks getting their stuff ready. Lots of transitioning from drivers moving up into different classes, and even a bunch of go-karters moving up into different classes. So, Pure Stocks, is that where we're going to be this year?
Yeah, we'll stay there. It's we had probably the last 4-5 races out. We kept getting faster. We kept finding some speed. During the last big show, lap times showed some pretty good times. And faster, I was faster than the cars in front of me. Just couldn't make it. And then we ended up breaking a rocker with, I think, 3 to go, something like that. So a couple cars. I think I was running 4th, trying to pass for 3rd, and broke a rocker. So still sit at the house with a broken rocker. I need to go buy some new rockers.
So in some of your asphalt experiences, you did have someone that had run in the asphalt world before, and that was Eddie Butt over at Dynamotive. Dynamotive. Yeah. So
when I went to Ray High School, a good friend of mine was his brother-in-law. It was Eddie's wife's brother, and I was working at Whataburger, and he knew I wanted to work on cars. And he's like, "Man, my brother-in-law has a shop. I'll talk to him." So I went over there to work for Eddie Butt as just a helper, hourly guy. Then he had this big old Romco car stuffed in the corner over there.
Just a late model sitting in the corner.
Oh, yeah. No money was spared on that one. I think Josh Comstock was involved in that one. And that was pretty cool. So I'd go, if they let me touch a little bit on that one. His brother was real particular, not to let you touch him. I can hand him a wrench or something, but
just don't get too close.
Yeah, he was like, "Go fix the cars, and we'll fix the race car. Don't touch it." But yeah, I would go out there and then they got I don't know what the class was. They had a BMW that somebody didn't pick up there, and one of the other guys wanted to race a car, so they cut this BMW up, put a roll cage in it,
like a Pro Sedan type deal.
Yeah, it was all stock, just BMW 325i or something like that.
Square body looking thing.
Yeah. A 4-door, I think. And his name was Josh, and he went out there. He would race that, so it was cool. Go out there and help them at the asphalt.
Did you ever see Eddie race the car?
Yeah, I've got there. Actually, I have VHS tapes somewhere. I used to have this cool little camera I'd take with me. And I found it one day, and I turned it on, and a bunch of CC Speedway. And then I think some. I don't know if I have it with my dad. I used to record my dad when he did the monster truck, but it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Samantha, of all the years of racing, I'm sure you've had a ton of people help you, stand behind you.
Yeah, first and foremost would be you. Every company you've had, but always anything I needed on a car, finding a new car, helping me with an engine. Hangry Trucking has stepped up the last probably about 2-3 years. He's wanted me to be real big on the safety. He's bought me a suit. Saints Ford has always helped me out. I got another place to work on the cars. As long as the boss ain't around, you know.
And he got you started in the deal.
Yeah.
He set the hook.
Yeah, I followed Hector over to Saints. So when Hector left, management kind of changed Nissan. If it didn't, I probably would have still been there, but followed Hector over there and watched him grow there, and we both grew in the company. Pretty cool.
Cool deal. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us and telling us some of your stories, and
yes, sir.
Telling us a little bit about your life. That's what this is about. Is about getting some of your stories out there, letting people know who you really are. You're not just a racer when you put the helmet on. You're a family man as well.
Yes, sir.
And a businessman. So I appreciate that very much. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir.
As a checker flag flies in this episode, I would like to take the time to thank Jerry Walters for coming on and sharing his racing experiences. I would also like to take the time to thank our sponsors, Proline Fabrication, 112 Bodies, Top Hat Signs and Designs, and of course, S&S Monuments.